I'll already know who it is and what it is. It is the Morning Run. It is Big Dog Chico. It is Deuce the Scoop. It is yours truly, Uncle Neely, coming in from Boulder, where it's colder. Deuce repping the ATL with the lid and in his heart. Chico out in the middle of the ocean. We got our man Adam joining us to talk Colorado sports, Cleveland sports, how the Buffs are doing in the NFL, everything sports and culture. The Morning Run.
Wake up. Wake up, runners. Yes, indeed. Let's go. Let's join in from the ATL to Hawaii. We're here with the Morning Run on the Pregame Network. Uncle Neely, Big Dog Chico, Duke the Scoop coming to you live and direct, giving you the latest and greatest in sports, culture, entertainment, and the most in-depth coverage you can find on Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes. Thanks to our main man, Uncle Neely, who's right there on campus in the middle of America in Boulder, where it's usually colder. Talk to us. How you doing? How you doing, Unc? How you doing, Dukes?
I'm doing good this morning, man. It's a good hump day. Got to get over the hump. Wednesday here in Boulder. Off day for the Colorado Buffs as far as football practice goes. But fall camp how it is. There's always meetings and films and studies, that kind of thing taking place. But an off day as far as practice goes. We'll be wrapping up this week with a scrimmage with officials on Saturday. And this is the third week, Chico, middle of the third week of camp. School starts back next Thursday, classes. So you got to get all you get done while you got these football hours. Because once it's class time, everything gets condensed, shrinked in, and you don't have the time you think you have because Friday night is coming.
Coming real soon. Just like those Friday night lights used to come in high school. Dukes, what's happening?
Man, I'm good, man. Woke up this morning, took Cam to school, went to the gym this morning, but I feel good.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm
Went to
talking
the
about.
gym, man. First time in a long time.
What you went to drop somebody off or you went in to work out? What happened?
Man, I went in to work out, Chico. I just let down slide, man, because at the end of the day, I'm so happy about being physically active and not
That's
just
right.
walking around, man. I've been doing the walk workout. People say if you walk enough, they say if you walk enough, you get your steps in, it'll help you keep your cardio up and you'll lose, consistently you can lose weight.
Yeah.
So of course I wanted to just walk it out. Shout out to DJ.
Walk it out.
Right.
Bless his soul. And but now today I got in there with my my twin brother, and fresh out fitness, what we call it. And shoot, man, it is, man. So I'm glad to be here, man. He almost got to fighting today, man. Like in the gym. I told him this is why I don't go to the gym with him.
How you get to fight at the gym?
Man,
What's
look,
that a fight over?
Look, true
Who's your
story.
twin?
Man, like, yeah, the ghetto twins, man. Yeah, Ugg and Lee. That's what they call us, man. Like, but now straight up, man. So my partner, he go in there. So he sets up two mats right in front of the dumbbells and the mirrors and Planet Fitness, right? So that's where we're gonna do the sit-ups and all of that, but they right in front of the dumbbells. And so the older guy looked like he'd been at Planet Fitness all morning long, was like, hey, young bloods. You calling us young bloods, and we both 40, he 43, I'm 42. So he's like, hey, young bloods, would you mind moving up, because people may want to get to the dumbbells. And bro say, man, who he talking to? I was like, hey, buddy, come on, man. I ain't coming here for this today, bro. You know what? Because if I was there, I don't go nowhere with him. Because it's a problem every time. I said, man, he just asked us to move out the way. Man, he don't own this place. I come in here every day. Ain't nobody ever got no problem. Why he starting with me? I see, man. See, that's why we call it fresh out fitness. You still got that chain game mentality.
Gotta leave that at the door, buddy.
I'm telling you, man. But I made it out alive, man, and I'm energized. So I'm happy to be here, and I got to wear my new hat. Oh, that one for you.
I see it with the flames on it. Heated up, ATL.
Man, that's the
hot Atlanta.
That's the Bristol Motor Speedway Atlanta Braves edition. And the coldest part about it is on the inside, got the checker.
Got the checker flag. Right.
Yeah, man. So that's one of my favorite ones.
Shout out to them, man. All right. Well, hey, man. Next time, y'all respect y'all elders and get out of Unc way.
I did.
Y'all up in there.
I did. Because it looked like Unc had one of them 1970 pistols on him, man, about as long as somebody's leg. So I was like, nah, I'm straight, bro.
Dukes, not only did he ask nicely, Y'all was wrong in the first place. You can't block the equipment, man.
Man, look, I'm telling you, man. Hey, my brother's a stone cold fool, man. I ain't lying. Like something wrong with him. I love him to death, but I told him this is why I don't go nowhere with you. I don't go nowhere because wouldn't nobody ask me to move if I was at home. I don't care if I'm eating bonbons. I don't care what I'm doing. I could be eating chitlins. I can eat them where I want to. I come out here with you. You
always some.
This ain't your house. This is not Rice Street. If anybody know where Rice Street is in Atlanta,
right?
That's they call it Hotel 901. That's the jail. This ain't that, bro. Everybody out here free. Nobody trying to take your cot, bro. Like, let's just be happy, bro. You know, man. Shout out to him, man. I love you, dog, but damn.
Don't
and
worry.
Chico, in spite of all that, y'all gonna go work out with him tomorrow.
Well, stop.
You gotta make that same mistake again. You know, that past performance.
He can come to the park. If he want to go hit the trail over here by my house,
yeah,
welcome to come to the park. But man, in public, once a week at the most, maybe once a month.
Damn, I'm sure. I ain't gonna say that. I was gonna take a little shot at Uncle. I ain't gonna do that.
But Chico, here the thing, Chico. Here's the thing, like for real.
I'm not gonna do it.
I'm glad you're not gonna do it because I'm in the hit back mood.
And I'm
Duke's telling a story about him and his homeboy at the gym. Why would you even be roping me in that in the first place? Like this is the time to shoot at Dukes or shoot at his homeboy. Why would you even sit there like, oh, this is a good time to get on? Like, no, why?
I'm leaving Uncle alone today. I'm not bringing anything back on me. How about that?
Look, he started with me though. I heard him. He said, "Yeah, you went to the gym to do what?
Who you drop off?
Drop somebody off." Man, I said,
you what?
I said, it's okay, Chico. That's good.
Ain't gonna tell I got him. That's why I got him yesterday when he talking about the Auburn recruiter coming to see him. I was like, so who they went to see and couldn't make it? This I know they didn't try to sell, but to see you,
man.
Well, we're gonna go back to that story. We got Adam Munsterteiger joining us.
Why do we have to go back to that story
during the day? Because we're gonna go back to it at the end of the show. I'm sure we're gonna circle back around to it, and it's gonna come up in some type of way. You know what I mean? You up in the gym getting those obliques right?
Hey,
I'm gone, dog.
But I never met nobody in my life. See, look,
that was a setup for the transition, man. Shedeur Sanders.
Look. See, this is what I'm talking about.
Why you had to touch yourself?
I didn't
smile
like this. That's the area.
But why you do like there you go? Why you do this, Chico? Why you do this?
Now like listen. See, they'll say something to me. They be like, Dukes, leave Chico alone. Dukes, Chico, they be in the comments. Like,
chat, come on, chat. Y'all saw that. Y'all saw that easy alley oop I just threw right there.
Yeah.
I'm getting my obliques right because I don't want to have an injury. And speaking of injury,
why did you hold yourself like that when you explained the oblique?
Because some people might not know where the oblique is.
And then why'd you do this?
Well, you look like you was breastfeeding. like you were trying to take one and just pop it like. You be rubbing them all the time. So I was like, Chico, why is you?
Can't even.
We was a little late starting the show because StreamYard had some issues. Maybe that was just a sign we were supposed to come on today.
It might have been, man. Boy, Chico put them all right.
from the mats in front of the dumbbells to Chico oblique and his smile. It was a smile for me. It was the way he tilted his head and touched himself.
I thought y'all caught what I was. I thought y'all picked up what I was putting down.
It would have been a good segue into the Cleveland news, but your head tilt and touch. Play the Blue Oyster music, man. Play the Blue Oyster music.
Supposed to be sick this morning. Y'all supposed to be doing the whole show, so maybe I need to just.
Supposed to be sick, like you scheduled to be sick.
Yeah, I'm scheduled to be sick. This is my leave day. I took leave.
We can't wait till you leave.
What's a maternity leave?
That's why his oblique sore. He been breastfeeding. Come on with the news, Chico. Stop playing, man. You play too much.
Unbelievable. Dude, you tell us the news then, damn it.
Man, Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Why you ask me to tell the news and then start saying the news?
Okay, go ahead, tell us the news.
No, go, Chico. Go.
Because I thought you was going like, huh? But Cleveland Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders did not finish Wednesday's joint practice with the Philadelphia Eagles. Reports say due to an oblique injury. Sanders suffered an injury during warm-ups, according to ESPN, and will undergo an MRI to determine the severity of the injury. Team decided to hold Sanders out of the remainder of the session as the teams worked on 7-on-7 and 11-on-11 drills. He stayed on the field for the rest of the practice, watching the Browns go through drills with the Eagles. I also saw him in the cart with Jalen Hurts riding around the field one-on-one right there. So Kenny Pickett, of course, led the team doing drills. He led the team out on the first team. And Joe Flacco worked with the starters in 11-on-11 drills while Dylan Gabriel saw most of his action with the second team. Talk to me about this oblique injury. What y'all think? And is this set up to where Shedeur might miss the next preseason game, and you have the other guys doing the starting?
I would think. I don't know. We don't know the severity. Like, it could be. Does he have to play in the next game? I think you got enough snaps to go around that you want to see what Kenny Pickett can do, because you got to understand the preseason is only 3 games at this point. If it was a 4-game preseason in years past, then I would think that, yeah, you know, there would be more time that you could get guys in, and it just wouldn't. You could probably give Dylan Gabriel his own game, but you can't afford to do that now because you need to see Kenny Pickett. You need to see Dylan Gabriel. You saw a lot of Dylan Gabriel today, and he didn't have his best performance. So with that being said, and I'm not going to say that that's an indictment on him as a whole, but what I will say is that this is, and I mean this with all due respect, I think Shedeur has proven that he should be higher on the depth chart than what he is. This is a time for Cleveland to take a better look at what they have in front of him. The day one looked like, in this joint practice, I feel like Shedeur, to me, it looks like Shedeur would have done a better job than what we saw. You can't guess about it, but based off past performance against another team live, in his first performance against another team, Shedeur balled out. Well, the 3rd round pick, his first performance against another team in the joint practice, he did not ball. So if you take apples to apples with Shedeur performing in an environment, away game, with a live crowd, I mean a large live crowd, in comparison, it looks like Shedeur, if apples to be apples, should at least today be in consideration to be bumped up over Dylan Gabriel if you left it at today. But that's the beauty of it. You don't get to leave it at today. You get to see Dylan Gabriel in a similar situation this weekend, and you can make a decision on who performed better. And you cannot, no matter what the oblique injury is, you cannot erase the film that was put out last Friday night. So I think that Shedeur is fine. As I said, I always say before, you got to understand it ain't just who it is, it's whose he is. So, and I know I don't like to, and you know, I stay football based and I don't like to get into this role, but something about this where the culture was under attack, I just feel like there's something to be said for what Shedeur represents, and I feel like he'll come out of this on the positive side, no matter what the injury is. And I don't think he's in any danger of being cut.
I love it, Dukes. I love it. I think that again, I will start with where you start. I don't know. We don't know the severity of it. You know, those kind of soft tissue muscle injuries can flare back up, and so you want to take your precaution with them and not rush things. And I think that when you look at what he did in this preseason live action game where they were playing the Carolina Panthers, he put enough in play and enough on film that if anybody could take some days off, it would be him, because he has set the bar. He has set the expectation of the quarterback room. And what I mean by that is, you know what you have in him because you've seen it. Now it's the other guy's chances to go out there and either match that or exceed it. And so it's almost like the dunk contest, if you will. I just put up a 48. Like if you don't dunk a 48, 49, and 50, you behind me. And so now here's an opportunity for the people that were drafted in front of him, who they were injured last week and remained on the team. Now he's taking a day off from an injury. Now it's their time to play catch up. They get to dunk next. You either beat my dunk or you don't. And I think that when you put all this stuff in the pot, let it simmer, turn it to a low flame, let it marinate, as we say down back south. you're going to see that there's no way out of 4 quarterbacks in this room, not counting the injured Deshaun Watson, out of 4 quarterbacks in this room, there's no way he's fourth. So now we're talking about is he 3 or 2? And what's going to help determine that is the performance of the guys who are 3 and 2. Again, it's time for them to put up or shut up. And then it's time for Cleveland Browns to make a decision based on what they've seen in live action with live bullets, if you will, flying at you. You know, the defense out there, even if it's a preseason game, they're trying to sack you. The DBs are trying to intercept you. You know, the linebackers are trying to make you move pre-snap. So all those things come to play. If you look at what he did against the Carolina Panthers, what a testament to what he brings to the NFL and his skill set. I dunked a 48. Dylan, let's see what you do.
I'll say this. Yes, that soft tissue injury, that oblique, every time he goes to throw or to raise his hand or something like that or stretch out, that expands that muscle. And I'm sure he feels like it's a strain or something like that. So that pain is going to be there. I just hope that he can heal from it as soon as possible. That's going to take treatment, and it might take a lot of rest too. So we'll see where they go from there. I would like to see Gabriel and Kenny Pickett have a full 3 quarters or so like Shedeur did and have a chance to, prove it or, get out of the way, so to speak. So, I think it's a real injury, of course. I don't think they're going to put an injury out there and just fake it, like some people are asking in the chat. So we'll see where it goes from there. And from here, we can bring on our guest if you guys are ready for it.
Man, absolutely. What we're going to do, man, Chuck Bishop joins us every other Wednesday. Coach Carl Reed out of St. Louis joins us every other Monday. Now he knows every other Wednesday. Our man Adam is going to be joining us as the fourth talking head on the morning run. Adam, welcome to the morning run, brother. Where you at? There he is.
Yeah. Good to see you guys.
Yes, sir. How you feeling, brother?
Feeling great. Today was the first day of school for our kids, and they're all in high school now. So I've been sitting around this morning just thinking about where the time went, and I don't know where it went.
It goes by fast, man. It goes by. Congratulations on their first day of school. Wishing them a healthy and prosperous and successful school year. And to your kids, do not let Adam help you with your homework.
No, definitely not.
Because you want to pass.
Our youngest and me doing her math homework even when she was in elementary school made us so angry because they teach it so differently now. Right. I'm not about to learn the way they teach it. I'm just trying to get to the answer. And so it was not a good deal.
Hey, you know me, I messed around the show with my daughter. The answers were in the back of the book. I was like, oh, damn, now she know. So we know where you get her answers from now. Unbelievable. Adam, how you doing, man? Thank you for joining us. Once again, Adam Munsterteiger, 247 Sports. I've been covering the Buffs since 2003, should I say, buffstampede.com. And so he has a lot of knowledge on the Colorado Buffaloes. We're going to get into that after their 12th practice so far this camp. We're in hump day now. So should we go there first, or should we start with the Shedeur Sanders injury? Where you want to go, Dukes, Adam?
Let's go to camp, man. I want to get some. I have some things I wanted to ask Adam. So, okay, if it's okay, I'll start. Adam, I wanted to ask you, who's been the most surprising player over this year's fall camp so far?
Most surprising player? There's a few of them, but it's a lot of the guys that we expected to be pretty good. But I really enjoyed getting a chance to talk to Quincy Wiggins at Media Day. And we had kind of seen that transformation with him happening during spring ball. Coach Prime had a lot of great things to say about him, and just getting a chance to talk to Quincy about the journey he's been in, because there's a lot of pressure on 5-star athletes coming out of high school. And obviously it didn't hit right away for him at the college level, but he stuck with it. In just his relationship with Coach Prime was really fun to hear about. We can't get through an interview, Dukes, without hearing Arden Walker's name, just in terms of the leadership that he's had with this football team and the type of impact he's trying to make as a Buff legacy. So those are a couple of names that stand out to me. But just going back to Media Day last Friday, there are so many great stories on this football team. And I think early on during camp, it's been great. A lot of the things all of us talked about in the offseason, and some of those main themes were balance. Some of those themes were depth And that's really shown itself through 12 practices, which is what you wanted to see. In the back and forth from both sides of the ball is another thing you want to see. So it's hard not to be encouraged with what we've seen. It seems like every day there's a new guy making big plays. Tyrekus Davis was a big name coming up at media day as a guy that's getting his hands on balls a lot. A transfer from Wyoming that can play nickelback and cornerback. So, I mean, we could spend the next hour just listing guys off because the number of contributors and practices has been pretty amazing so far.
Nice.
Chico, I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to treat Adam different than you treat me. I'm going to tell it to you live on the air. That man just sat there and said that he gets his hands on a lot of balls, and neither one of y'all said pause. Now, had I said that, y'all be stopping the show and, oh, look at the chat. Look what he said.
Nah, that goes exactly to what you said.
If you're going to be immature, Chico, be immature all the time.
No, it seems like it's always you. Because when I say things,
not me.
You say, no, it's because you said it, Chico. Anybody else could have said it'll be fine. So Adam said it, so it's fine. All right.
Okay. All right. Okay. Hey, Adam, I agree with you on that Q Wiggins, man. One of those things that I've loved about him and his maturity and growth here. I think it's a perfect storm. Here's a guy who is a 5-star with his athletic gift. You look at the body, the work he's put in, being in football readiness with strength, speed, endurance, all those intangibles. But now it's met the perfect storm of guys who are willing to coach him. You know, a lot of players who are 5-stars, they fall into a situation where the expectation is that, hey, you should be able to do it. I'm not here to coach you. You're a 5-star. Coach Prime will tell you he doesn't put a lot of emphasis on stars. He puts a lot of emphasis on coaching. Like, go out and get a 5-star, recruit them, but go out and get a 3-stars too and coach them up. And for the people he's put in charge of these rooms, whether it is defense coordinator Rob Livingston or George Hilo, who directly coaches Q Wiggins, or even Sapp, who's the pass rush coordinator. Look at those 3 voices pouring into him and getting the best out of him. And you can see those light bulb moments for him in practice or in between spring ball and now. And I think he's going to be a household name by midseason.
Yeah, no, it's crazy too, because Quincy told me that he's gained 10 pounds, but he actually looks almost thinner just when you look at his frame. It's like you can tell he's put in that work under Andrew Swayze to really be in top physical performance going into the season. And just, you can tell the chip has grown the last couple of years with him, and he's ready to get out there and make some big plays for the Buffaloes.
Hey, Adam, even Uncle Neely said that the offensive line is looking way bigger than he's seen in the past. And you've been covering the team 20 years plus. So what is this offensive line looking like to you from what you've seen up close and personal?
It's the biggest offensive line that I've covered in 23 years at Colorado. And the number of starts, I'd have to go back and really spend a lot of time doing research. It might be kind of an impossible project, but I feel like the number of FBS starts on this O-line is probably number one in that time period as well, if not definitely in the top 3. They've really struggled on the offensive line for a lot of the last 23 years. And that's, part of a big reason why Colorado has not gotten to more bowl games, had more winning seasons during that stretch. And it's tough to build the offensive line through the portal. It's impossible to do it in one offseason, as we saw. And so now that you're 3 years in and you've been able to bring up some high school guys that have an impact, a Jordan Seaton at left tackle, and you've been able to, had a winning season, which kind of helps with offensive linemen being willing to make that jump to you, with a guy like Xavier Hill that had a lot of options in terms of where he was going to transfer. Zy Chrysler, a lot of options in where he was going to transfer. And so you've really seen the competition from I think it's what they have 16 or 15 scholarship offensive linemen. I mean, even when you go down low on that list, when you're talking about the true freshmen, you see the potential there in the future. So this is a really stocked offensive line group. I really thought strongly that the floor had been risen once again with that group. And I was again curious, what is the ceiling of that group? When you throw in a dual threat quarterback like Hayden Salter, when you talk about having a balanced offense, all that stuff's going to aid those guys as well. And so I think, as Coach Prime keeps saying, it's a new team, it's new players. They're going to win a different way. But the O-line is going to be the key to this group offensively. And so far they've lived up to those expectations.
Nice. Hey, Adam. So I had a conversation with a guy by the name of Joel Cox about a month ago. I'm pretty sure you know him, VP of talent at CBS. And he went out of his way to say how much you knew about the Colorado landscape. If you were to rank last year's team in the top 5 teams that you've seen in Colorado, where would that team rank since you've been covering the Buffaloes? And then how does that team compare to this year's team?
Yeah, so I go back to 2003, and I can educate you on a lot of bad football that I've seen over the years. It's been rough some years, but there have been some glimmers of hope throughout those years. I would say last year in 2016, when they won 10 games, that would be kind of 1A, 1B. There were more storylines. I would probably give last year's team 1 because of the Heisman experience and just what that does for the program, the exposure that they got. And with Coach Prime, there's always great storylines, and his last year with Shedeur in Shiloh. So I would probably go 1 last year, 2 2016. And then I'm struggling, guys. There's been great moments in there, but it's been a rough road. They did not have a winning season for a very, very long time before that 2016 season. And I would say the worst seasons were 2011, 2022, because they ranked dead last in the country in scoring margin both of those seasons. And that's when it's really tough to cover a football team, when you show up to the stadium and even the players that you're covering know they're not going to be competitive. And you've got teams that are covering the point spread in the first half, huge point spreads. I remember there was one game in Eugene against Oregon where it was a 29-point spread that was covered by the end of the first quarter. So I've seen some of that stuff, but the last couple of years, and I think you guys have seen it when you talk to longtime Buffs fans that just really appreciate where this program is now and to be part of the national discussion. There was a time in 22 and back in 11 when you didn't really want to go to the grocery store wearing your CU gear as a Buff alumni. And that's rough, man. That's like the opposite of what this whole thing is meant to be, right? You want to be proud of your alma mater, and folks now are, and you can't. I mean, you travel. I was in Lisbon a year and a half ago, and I saw Colorado gear over there. I mean, it's just pretty incredible, the reach we've seen. So I don't know if that answers your question, but last year's team, that was with the Heisman being kind of the cherry on top, was the most fun I've ever had covering the Buffaloes.
Adam, let me ask you this from a historic, external, put yourself in the shoes of a fan's perspective. When Coach Prime first got here, of course, the euphoria is through the roof. It's Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. Who cares if he could coach or not? We're looking at the entity himself. That season started off hot, didn't end well, but it was a season of belief. And then last year became this season of expectation. Like, we're not coming, we're here. We know what we can coach. We know the players we have, and you saw the outcomes of that. Well, now in that same process, though, you lose a Shedeur Sanders, you lose a Travis Hunter who won the Heisman, bevy of other players who were big names. Where do you rate the belief or the expectation for this season from a fan perspective? Are fans saying we're going to do it again, or are fans tempering expectations because some of those big names are gone?
Yeah, I mean, on buffstampede.com, we've got a message board. So you just see the expectations every day. It's put out there in front of you. Colorado fans are kind of in the same line of thinking as me, it seems like, in terms of the absolute floor of this team is a bowl game. And the ceiling is, 9-10 wins, winning the Big 12 championship. Nationally, when I've done a lot of interviews, they're like, if Colorado just makes a bowl game, it's a successful season. And I kind of buck back on that a little bit, just because those facts are focusing on what you said, Neely, about Shedeur and Travis, and they're not looking at how much better both lines have gotten. They're not looking at being able to replenish that receivers room the way that they did. They're just kind of looking at the surface level stuff. And so, but I want to go back to that first season, because it was about, a different mindset being put into this fan base. After the TCU game, when I boarded my flight to come back from Dallas, the whole plane sang the fight song. And I had never experienced that before. So that even very early on, that season obviously went south as things went on. But even that season had some moments that were really memorable that Colorado fans will always remember.
Follow up to that, Adam. You look at the possibilities and what can actually what occurred in the past, and you kind of juxtapose it to what you have now. And I've said in this building and outside this building that if you give Shedeur Sanders the offensive line that is here this year, we can go to the Big 12 championship and win it. Like it's that much difference, in the trenches. Same thing with the defensive line and its ability to stop a run. Remember what happened went up to Kansas. That guy's still running the ball right now. And so there's been so many changes in this team as far as where our deficiencies were a year ago or 2 years ago. And that's why you see Coach Prime will say that this is a better team now. And so I'm with the guys and girls in your Stampede message board. The expectation should be higher because we have a better team. We've known what to do with it. And now we just got to go out there and execute. Because when you talk about bowl game or not, that was last year's get Miss Peggy to a bowl game. Coach Prime will tell you or anybody that asks or anybody that doesn't ask, the goal for this year is to go to Big 12 championship and win it. And anything short of that, we failed the season.
And one thing that I've been asked a lot about in some of these national interviews is folks think that Coach Prime's being back in Texas while he was recovering is actually going to be a negative. But I'm like, I think it's going to fire these guys out, man. Like, I think especially that's the time of year, if you're going to have a head coach not on campus, that's the time of year anyway. And you've got all of camp. You've got basically 5 weeks to gear up with him on campus. And so I see that as a rallying cry. And everybody wanted to get behind Miss Peggy last year. And I think it's going to be similar. I don't know if Coach Prime wants that, in terms of, being kind of the outward perception of what's driving this team. But talking to those guys at media day, they all want to play so hard for him.
Yeah, I think inside that's the case. One of the players in the team meeting, when he officially disclosed what he'd been going through, asked him, Coach, how are you? What can we do for you? And he sounded like Al Davis. He said, just win. Like, I want you guys to win, and I want you guys to dominate. And everybody agreed to it. So I think that they're going to carry that to the season and have reminders that we're playing this season for a guy who sacrificed so much for us to be here.
To a question from the chat, man. Right here, Miss Vaughn Randall said, Adam, who are your top 5 players that you are really looking forward to have a breakout season?
So this would be guys that have returned, right? Because DeKalen Taylor is a guy that just keeps getting mentioned to me. I don't know if that's a breakout because he's a transfer, but he's one of the first names that just popped into my head in terms of a guy that it's going to go from only Colorado fans knowing about to becoming a name in the Big 12 that opposing defensive coordinators are talking about. Obviously, Omarion Miller, the only thing that really held him back was injuries last season and having 4 NFL guys ahead of him. He's obviously made a big impact in practice every day. I'm trying to look at guys that are not transfer. Anquan Barnes is the other guy that everybody keeps mentioning in terms of just how he's reshaped his body and become, somebody that's a force to be reckoned with on that defensive line. Preston Hodge, it sounds like he's completely taken ownership of that secondary room in terms of just, taking advantage of that extra year of eligibility that he didn't think he was going to have. Those are some names that come to mind. What about you guys? I'm curious what your thoughts are.
I would throw Carter Stottmeyer on that pile. I think he had an significant injury, bounced back from that. Also had some moments where he was put in a position, to play multiple positions back there in the secondary. But I think going to this camp and coming out of this camp is solidified as one of those safeties. And so I'm looking forward to his growth and development, his pedigree, all the things he's bring to the table. I think he's going to be another guy that folks will be interviewing post-game, Adam. And I think you can kind of close your eyes and draw straws along that defensive line. There's so much talent out there. We can't forget about Wade this year back as an edge rusher, what he did in just a few games last year, now coming into this season fully healthy with Hilo pouring into him daily. I'm expecting him to make some noise. The linebacker room is being slept on, I think, and not talked about enough. When you look at Tate French out of Memphis and also Reggie Hughes out of Tunica, Mississippi. And don't forget about Jeremiah Brown. There's a three-headed monster back there that they can rotate around for different schemes. Jeremiah has probably had the best camp of all the linebackers here.
Man.
You muted that, Dukes.
You muted, Duke.
If I were to pick someone to have a breakout season, I would go with Zach Atkins. I think the tight end is going to be important, especially when you're going to more of a pro style run game. When you look at Pat Shermer over his career, even in the NFL, I know he didn't have the best stint with the Broncos, but when you look at what he was really good at, it was incorporating the tight end in stretch zone and also being able to play off of that to get the tight end open on short releases. So I think the tight end, I think Zach Atkins, and you haven't seen a ton of production from the tight end position. So I think as far as the breakout goes, the tight end position as a whole.
He's such a great story, too. He was a 190-pound receiver coming out of high school, goes to Northwest Missouri State, and just grows into his body. And it was interesting. He was telling me that this level was shocking to him at first, but we've really seen him kind of settle in here, I think, in the last week or so. And at least that's kind of how he felt about his own performance, that all of a sudden he was getting comfortable at this level and the plays were starting to come.
Mm-hmm.
My breakout, I'm going to go with Uncle Neely. He named about 18 of them, so he took 2 or 3 of my guys. So I'm going to go with Arden Walker, the defensive end, the legacy buff. His dad played with Colorado, had 4.5 sacks last year. Can really get out to the quarterback. I think we'll be up in a lot of games this year, running behind that offensive line with a dual threat quarterback who can also throw it, highly productive and efficient. So we can get up in some games, and now that's going to have our pass rushers pin their ears back and get after the quarterback. And a guy like Arden Walker can lead that charge off that edge. So I'm going to go with Arden Walker to be my breakout player this year.
Adam, I got an NFL question for you as far as the historic nature of this fan base. Even in those quote unquote down years, maybe we felt like down decades at some point, Colorado was still every year or so putting somebody in the league from a particular position or not. But this particular group that just went to the league, whether it's the wide receiver, Shedeur, Travis, you name it, that groundswell of fan base that has followed them to their current teams. Have you seen anything like that maybe since when Cordell went to the Steelers?
No, it's really been, I think it's kind of when it's one guy, it's not drawing as much interest. Now you've got so many guys that everybody's tuned into these different teams. When Nate Solder became one of the best left tackles in the NFL, protecting Tom Brady, there was a lot of pride from Colorado fans. When David Bakhtiari became Aaron Rodgers' blindside protector, there was a lot of pride there, but there just hasn't, there hasn't been this initiative on social media where like you got the CU aunties that are creating merchandise and getting fans out to really, help support these guys through their journey. That's been really, really cool to see. And that is honestly something that we've never really seen around Colorado too much. There was a lot of pride with Philip Lindsay as well when he went undrafted, and he went to the Pro Bowl as an undrafted rookie, the first to ever do it for the Denver Broncos. And I'm sure you guys have seen his big picture up there in the indoor practice facility, and he's a local radio guy now. But he had such a cool story at Colorado and was part of that 2016 team that won 10 games. So was a fan favorite. That's the closest I've seen to anything that we've seen just from a fan support towards the NFL aspect. And it's great because I don't have an NFL team. So now I actually care about the NFL for the first time in a long time. And I really enjoyed that. I was all day on Friday. I was like, man, I gotta type fast because I got to make sure that at 5:00 I'm tuning into the NFL Network. So it's been a new experience for Colorado fans to get this much NFL action going in terms of forever buffs being a part of the NFL.
Well, Adam, for any postseason award in the college game, if you could pick someone, if you had to make a bet on a Colorado buff on this current roster becoming a finalist or winning a postseason award, who and what award do you think is still standing in December?
DJ McKinney Thorpe Award, right? We got to get one of those back in the Champion Center. Colorado kind of got robbed from that last year.
Kind
Right,
of. Stop being polite, Adam.
Yeah,
But
I like that one.
yeah,
that was highway robbery right there.
Hopefully they don't hold a grudge against Colorado, because Coach Prime was vocal about that, as he should have been. I mean, that was awful. And so maybe they owe Colorado one of those trophies, and we'll see if DJ can live up to that. That's the first one that comes to mind.
I like that.
Yeah, same here. And DJ is, DJ and Preston, man, are so impressive back there. Preston more the silent leader type. DJ can be a little more vocal at times, a little more swag to it. But I think that this is gonna sound crazy, Adam. I mean, you lose a Travis Hunter and a Shiloh Sanders and a Cameron Silman Craig, but yet your secondary got better. Watch.
Overall, it's a lot of pieces back there now. That
Chico.
That you can't just eye on. It's on me. Where we go? We can go to wide receivers now then, because we brought in a freshman national player of the year with Quinn Gibson. I want to see what Adam thinks about him coming in and the impact a player of that caliber out of high school coming and signing with Colorado, and also the depth on that in a wide receiver core. Now you bring in Sincere Brown, got a lot of guys returning. What are your thoughts on the wide receivers this year, Adam?
Well, last year we saw the same 4 guys out there most of the time. I have a hard time believing that's going to be the same case this year, because I just don't think with that much talent that you can settle on 4 guys. Coach Prime said at his media day press conference that you could kind of close your eyes and just pick out the starters in that room right now, because they are so deep and so talented. I think Draylon Miller is got to be a guy that's a heavy part of that action. We talked about Amore Miller earlier, but you got to rotate those guys through there. And so it's such a deep group. It's a group that's going to have eligibility to most of these guys outside of, Sincere Brown and Terrell Timmons, that are going to be with the Buffs for a couple of years. And so that part of it is fun as well, to be able to, have this core kind of stick around a little bit longer than the past couple of years, where they brought in a lot of senior transfers at receiver. So, that's a group that is going to exceed the national expectations without question. Will they be the best group in the Big 12? That could be a conversation as well. When you've got a guy like Isaiah Harge that is like 8th or 9th on the depth chart at that position, yeah, you're doing pretty good.
Wow.
Yeah, well said, Adam. I think one of the things that the fan base is either going to be surprised by or have to get used to it, and that is success is going to look differently. When you take out a Shedeur and a Travis, a LeJontay Wester, Will Shepherd, the list goes on and on. That's one thing, that individual talent. You have replaced that individual talent in that room. This room is just as deep, if not deeper than it was before. But here's the new twist. Without having to keep the ball in Shedeur, say Travis's hand, now you move it around more. You're seeing more formations at practice that involve 2 tight ends. You're seeing more formations at practice that involve the running backs. What does all that mean? Well, when you only have 11 players on the field, there's going to be more formations where you don't have 4 wide receivers out there at the same time like you had in the past. So I think this room is talented and more talented than before, but there's going to be some clawing for that action these first 2 or 3 games to prove that I'm one of the guys that need to be out here all the time. Draylon Miller is leaving the tip of that spear. His position coaches stood up at a recent team meeting and said, look, you're the standard. You're the guy. We're going to measure everybody against you. You're the front leader in this room. Hold that expectation up and keep these guys, living up to it. But where you go is where we go. So I think he's one of those spots. Now it's next to see game by game, because I think it's going to be much like in the years past too, Adam, that you're going to have one guy go off for 150 this game and may only have 25 the next, and somebody else has 130. That ball is going to move around. But with a more diverse offensive scheme where you're running more, using tight ends more, that's going to put a situation where there are not as many wide receivers on the field at the same time.
Yeah,
absolutely. Adam, when it comes to recruiting, we know that Colorado's biggest weapon is getting guys on campus in the fall. Are there any official visits on the horizon that you're looking for, players that you think that Colorado can get on campus during the fall?
Well, you know what? The big thing with recruiting right now for Colorado is to win football games.
Mm-hmm.
If they live up to their expectations, they are going to be heavy members of what Coach Prime calls flip season again. And they've been successful at that in the past. And so it's going to be some names that right now don't look like they're guys that are going to be Colorado Buffaloes come that early signing period that are going to venture into that. They were very active in terms of, I think it was 36 official visitors they hosted in the summer. And there were a lot of those recruits that I talked to that love Boulder, but Coach Prime wasn't around. And if you can get them back out in Boulder at Folsom Field for a game this fall, that I think you're going to have a chance to pull some of these guys as long as you're winning games. One guy I'm going to throw out there is Deacon Schmidt. He's from Windsor High School in Colorado, about an hour northeast of Boulder. He went down to Boulder a ton this spring, visited, I think it was 4 or 5 times, and he's verbally committed to Oklahoma right now. But I have a feeling that at some point in the future, that might switch, and he's a guy to keep an eye on in terms of those guys. They might potentially flip, but with Colorado recruiting, one of the things that folks get hung up on is they look at the prep recruiting team rankings and go, well, Colorado ranks whatever it is, 67th or whatever, because they're a transfer portal heavy school right now under Coach Prime. On 24/7 Sports, there's like a way you can toggle it to the overall rankings, and obviously at this point, because you're not bringing in transfers for next year yet, that's kind of not worth looking at. But when you get to mid-December, late December, early January through the offseason, look at that, and then compare it to the Big 12 schools, because Colorado was number 1 the first year Coach Prime was in Boulder in the overall team recruiting rankings. When you compare it to other Big 12 schools, they were number 1 again. The next offseason, they were number 2 this past offseason in the Big 12 with the overall team recruiting rankings, behind Texas Tech, which just had crazy NIL money going. So when you look at what Colorado is up against in the Big 12, from a talent acquisition standpoint, they've done a phenomenal job the last 3 off seasons. So prep rankings are kind of this icing on the cake. If you can get a Draylon Miller that can come in and play early on, a Jordan Seaton, that's great. But really the bread and butter, as we've seen with this staff, is the transfer recruiting. So that part of it too, again, goes back to winning games this fall. There's going to be guys knocking down Colorado's door if they have a successful season this year. And it's going to look great this upcoming offseason. That's all. It just comes down to winning with recruiting right now.
I want to add one more log to that fire. I like your winning log. That gets the fire going, certainly. But I like what these guys in the NFL are doing now. You can't mention LeJontay Wester and not say Colorado. You can't mention Cameron Sidman-Craig making those 2 or 3 tackles and not say Colorado, and not mention they were coached by Coach Prime. And then that goes all the way to Zay Weaver, and then to D Mack, who got a sack there in Miami. I think that the guys who've left this program and gone to the NFL, the more impact and success they have there helps in Coach Prime's recruiting as well. And what helps get them to the NFL is what you're saying, Adam. It starts with winning. They go with winning teams when they're doing that. Speaking of winning, Adam, I want to get your thoughts on this conversation I had with Coach Prime probably not 5 minutes after that bowl game back in the locker room. And he asked me what I thought. And I told him, I said, well, I think that 9 ain't enough. We got to find a way to get more than 9 wins next year. You tell me, when you look at this schedule and look at this team, is 10 wins something we can expect from the Colorado Buffs this fall?
Yeah, if it all comes together. I mean, there are so many unknowns when you talk about injuries. Fortunately, they've set their roster up from a depth standpoint to where at certain positions they're going to handle injuries and be just fine. There are a couple spots. Running back is a spot where those guys are magnets. You got 4 scholarship backs. I know there's a couple walk-ons in the program. You could maybe move a receiver to running back to fill in there. But as long as things go the way that they look like they are trending after 12 preseason practices, I think that should be the team goal. I said at the beginning of the show, 9 or 10 wins is an area that it wouldn't surprise me one bit, because of the depth and the balance that we're expecting. But the Big 12 is just one of those funny conferences where you can't do the schedule look and go win loss, because you don't know what to expect out of some of these Big 12 teams come week 6, 7. Kansas, it looked like that was going to be a tough game early last season. Then it looked like it was going to be an easy game. And then by the time Colorado goes out to Arrowhead Stadium, the Jayhawks had kind of found their groove, and they were a tough team to play.
Yeah.
And so there's not a whole lot separate.
That's a perfect example, Adam. I think you played that game 3 weeks earlier. It's a totally different outcome.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where in the Big 12, you've got so many coin flip games that it's hard to play that win prediction thing. But Colorado is as talented. Again, I go back to the last 3 off seasons. Number one, number 2 in the Big 12. That means you should be expected to win a lot of football games, I feel like.
Man, I think the running game is going to be there, and that's good. Like I said before, that could lead to a lot of victories. So I want to ask you guys before we get up out of here, give me a couple of hot takes as far as predictions for this season goes. Any hot takes that you have? I'll start it off then. Okay, thank you very much. Colorado will lead the conference in rushing. At the very least, will be top 3, but I'll say lead the conference in rushing because we have a running quarterback, going to be dedicated to the run, big offensive line, lead the conference in rushing. That's my hot take.
I will go opposite side of the ball and say Colorado would not only lead the conference in this, but be right up there leading the nation, and that's going to be quarterback sacks.
Okay. Once Dukes get off mute, we're gonna go with Dukes and then Adam. Just messing with you.
Yeah, I'll go offensive line player, be top 2 in the conference. I think looking at where you go from where it's been, but now I'm just starting to look at the amount of games already started. I'm looking at the Blesto report, which is a report that scouts get and they send the NFL teams. It's like 15 to 16 teams. And I'm seeing I'm seeing names that I hadn't seen before. Never saw Colorado on there, but now you got a guy like Xavier Hill. So now you have 2 guys who have 1,000% NFL pedigree for this year's draft. You mix that in with other guys who are still developing, who have that size and do have pedigree as well. I think this is, when I look at the Big 12, the only offensive line that I see that's like head and shoulders better than everyone else is Utah, because they've got 2 potential first rounders on their offensive line. Outside of that, I think Colorado can be right behind them, if not better than them by the end of the season.
I'm gonna piggyback off something you said earlier, Chico, when you brought up Arden Walker. He was on my preseason All Big 12 All Conference team list. There were 5 defensive linemen / edge guys you could put on there. He was on that list for me. So I think he's going to be an All Conference guy at the end of the season. And Reginald Hughes, maybe second team All Conference guy this coming season, a guy that not a lot of people are talking about at this point.
All right, straight out of Mississippi. Got a lot of Mississippi guys on that squad. I know Uncle Lee likes that up there in Colorado.
Adam, let me ask you this. Who do you think the green dot guy is for Colorado? For those that don't know, the green dot is who has the microphone and who kind of is the quarterback of the defense. Who do you think is the green dot?
I think it would be Hughes at this point. No, Neely, what do you think?
I like that. I like it as Hughes, but I'm gonna tell you this, man. When I touched on it earlier, French and JB are right there. One of the things that Coach Hart absolutely loves is that no matter where he is on the field, here he can hear French getting the defensive line and the defense situated. Like, he doesn't need a green dot to be vocal. Same thing with Jeremiah Brown. I think we had in 4 practices last week, Jeremiah got a 4 each time. The only one in the room to accomplish like 4 days of practice, and great, he got that high. You can really at this point close your eyes and draw a straw, pick a name. But I do like the position that Reginald Hughes is in, because he's almost like JB and French, combined. But there's going to be some interesting movement back in the linebacker room, because you not only have guys who can physically play the game with their bodies, you got 3 smart guys with high football IQ, and not only know their role, they know where everybody else is supposed to be in the defense at the same time.
Yes.
It's give Calvin Silverman Craig 25 more pounds of weight and 3 more inches of height, and that's what you got this year in that linebacker room.
Yes, indeed. Coach Hart said that we want to over communicate, which is just a great thing on the defensive front. You got the defensive line with their hand down in the dirt, and it's a good thing that they can hear the linebackers behind them speaking, because there's always constant communication, and that's what's going to make the best defense that they can be. If you communicate, you know where your guys are, you know where you're supposed to be. Everybody's filling their gaps, running to the football. That's going to be major right there, man. So green dot, I don't know. That's a good question right there, Duke. We'll have to see.
I'll tell you what else is going to be major this year. Every other Wednesday, Adam is going to be back on the morning run. That's what's going to be major this year.
Stop. Appreciate you, Adam, for joining us once again. We're going to wrap up the show now. Let everybody know where they can find you at, Adam, and all the good content that's going on right now since 2003.
BuffStampede.com on the 24/7 Sports Network. I'm on X at AdamCM777. Looking forward to this, guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate y'all.
I appreciate you, bro. We'll see you. We're going to see you tomorrow at the pressers, but we'll see you on here every other Wednesday.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thanks.
All right. Appreciate it, Adam. All right, guys. Once again, the zone. Back to the big three. Shout out to Ice Cube. Yay.
Chico, you don't be knowing where the hell you going, dude.
Where we going from here, dog?
You get in the car, back out the driveway, and be like,
that'd be the best rides. I actually did that this past weekend. Didn't have anything to do, didn't have anywhere to go. I said, I'm just gonna ride to the west side. Took a ride out there on the west side highway, basically, and cleared my mind, saw some things, and got me. I was like, oh, you know what?
Saw some things. What you see, Chico?
I could edit some inspiring things. I said I could edit up a lot of clips this week, put them out there, get more clips. Yep. And I listened to the show also. So, got a little clarity, man. So sometimes you need to just get in the car and take a ride with no destination.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
CBN said Chico back to being his normal self. Who was I before?
Mature Chico.
Chico,
let that man say handling a lot of balls and ain't saying nothing. Let Duke say handle a lot of balls. You just shut the show down.
I still would say that. Hey, real quick though, let's give another recap on Shedeur Sanders for the people in the back or who just came in. Right, Shedeur Sanders, per reports, out with an oblique injury that he suffered during the warm-ups, according to ESPN, and will undergo an MRI to determine the severity of the injury once again. The team decided to hold Sanders out for the remainder of the session as the team worked on 7-on-7 and 11-on-11 drills. A lot of injuries in that quarterback room. And then we see Deshaun Watson working to come back. Gonna make it even more crowded. So my destination for this, me just talking right now, is to ask this question right here. What is that room going to look like? I'm going to say this. What will the Cleveland Browns room look like by week 2?
Week 2 of the regular season?
Week 2 of the regular season.
It can't look like what it looks like right now. You can't be 2 weeks in the regular season and Shedeur Sanders is still listed as 4.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think they go with 4. I think they may go with 4 quarterbacks. I just don't know how they're gonna be ranked.
No, I believe they go into camp with 4. Come out of camp with 4 Dukes, but there's no way he can be 4. You lying to yourself, then.
Yeah, I think. But then again, I don't know, man, because they got. It just depends. If I had to make a prediction, I'd say they'll go with 4, but I could see a world where it's 3.
Here's the challenge, y'all. And let me say this as a Cowboys fan, so y'all won't think I'm the universe. I'm conspiring against Cleveland. When it comes to Cleveland and Jerry, you really don't damn know.
No.
You got logic, and you got what Jerry gonna do. You got logic, and you got what Cleveland gonna do. So we I don't know.
No. Week 2.
I know what most people would do, but I don't know.
Yeah. I know what they should be in a great position to do. They have 2 draft picks, 2 first rounders next year, right? And a lot of reports saying, well, if they don't pick to have their quarterback now, they can possibly get him next year. Man, that'd be crazy as hell if you spent 2 picks this year, you still don't have your quarterback, and now you using one next year.
But Chico, you're exactly right. Now I'm agree with you, so I'm ball your fist. It would be crazy as hell. But you're talking about the franchise since 1999 that's had 40 starting quarterbacks, almost double everybody else. So if anybody would do what you just said, it would be them.
Well, I feel like they need to get out of their own way. Whoever the owners are since then, Haslam family, whoever, they need to get out of their own way and let the general manager do what they do. It's kind of like when you have a young family member that knows how to run stuff that you don't know how to run. Let them run it then, and get out of the way. You've been messing up for 40 years. Let them run it. Do your thing. I'm just gonna sit back and I'm gonna be the owner and do that. And now
generational curses are a mofo.
And now you can have that general manager. Possibly now you can get more picks for next year and set yourself up nicely. You trade Kenny Pickett. Let Joe Flacco phase out. See what Watson does. If he's healthy enough, soon as he's healthy, put him out there to increase his trade value or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? But the fact is, you have your QB1 and he wears number 12. You better know it.
No better place than the end of the show than right there, Chico.
Hey,
Land the plane.
I know, man. Can we please just shout out my sister, 1999, Regina Dukes? I see you. Appreciate it with the super chat.
With the super chat. All right, we're gonna shout these. I think we got 4 super chats real quick. Like Miss Dawn Duncan, she said she mounted up. Love y'all for real, chat fam. Meet me or beat me, super chat. All my runners out there. And Ella Nissa was the first one to meet her with the $4.99 once again. She said, I got you, sis. Miss Dawn Duncan. And another one from Miss Dawn Duncan. It's all love with the $1.99. And then Miss Regina Dukes. Family.
Happy birthday, Regina Dukes.
$19.99. Regina or Gina? What they called her?
Crazy. No, Regina. Regina.
Happy birthday, Crazy. You know what they say about the Crazy one, Dukes? I ain't trying to talk.
Her birthday in February.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she did. No, no, it was my other sister's birthday the other day. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, sure, her birthday. Yeah, I know it. Yeah, look, ain't got nothing to do with me. I just hope.
I'm just saying.
They shoot.
Thank y'all for joining the morning run.
I know exactly what they say.
We had a great show today. We're not going to go off the rails. Guess who's going to keep us in between? Big Dog Chico. Thank y'all for coming out. Y'all know what to do. Hit the like, subscribe, and comment. From the East Coast to the middle of America to out here in the middle of the ocean, we got you covered nationwide. None other and no one better.
Tomorrow is Chico Day, y'all.
What's Chico Day?
Tomorrow, the morning run will be all about the tight ends. Brett Bartolone press conference, tight end press conference. We're going to get into the 98 percenters.
Real quick, speaking of tight ends.
Ain't no real quick, dog.
Cleveland messing up stuff. They had Travis Kelce, who's right there from the area, saying that he was pretty much crying in their draft interview, saying he wanted to play for the Cleveland Browns, and they did not pick him. And we see what Travis Kelce has turned into.
Well, so, man, Travis, be careful what you give, because who would have threw you the ball? What did Cleveland quarterbacks done? The time that Travis has been in the league, imagine he was depending on their quarterbacks.
Man, we probably wouldn't know his name. He wouldn't be with Taylor
Chico
Swift.
Cleveland, hosting the morning run, talk about the 98% on the back of his ass. That Chico, I want you to end the show. You don't want to try to keep it going, so.
That's messed up. Yep. I bet you. Yeah. Taylor Swift sounds a lot better than dealing with an Uncle Neely. So, hey.
At least when you date Taylor Swift, you ain't got to say, yeah, I got my girlfriend. She a girl.
You know what? We were ending the show, so I'm going to keep it going. Thank y'all for coming out. Appreciate Adam for joining us. Y'all know what it is, man. It's the biggest dog Chico to the sea. Uncle Neely and Philip Duke. Hit that like, subscribe, comment, follow us on all social media. Hit the website up. And until next time, we'll be up and about of here.
Peace to the Middle East, man.
Yeah, y'all. It's the morning run.
Turn it.